Hi guys, welcome to Cat Christian Life. So if you were in this channel before, you would know that I've changed my name because I felt like Cat's Christian Life is more fitting since we are going more, looking into the Christian journey and different things that affect your journey as a Christian. And so my Instagram name has also changed. So if you do have some time, please do go look at my Instagram. If you're a returning subscriber, thank you so much for tapping in and thank you for the support. I've just started this channel and I am very happy to see that a lot of people actually do tap in and are willing to discuss these topics with me, and it's very lovely. And if you are new, I hope that you like this video. Thank you very much for tapping in. I do have a playlist for videos like this, so if you are interested in seeing more, I will link it up here in the corner. So I was listening to a sermon the other day and it got me thinking of this topic of addiction and bad habits and how to get rid of bad habits. So as we know, addictions are replaced, they are not just evicted. So if you think of your mind as a house, because your body is a temple. So if you think of your mind as a house, there are different rooms and doors that open you to different things due to the habits or characteristics you have in your personality. So there are some doors that harbor these bad habits or these addictions, which are parts of your person or whatever journey you're going through at the time. And so when we decide to clear out that room and we want to give up addiction or give up a bad habit, you cannot just evict that bad habit. You actually have to replace it with something that is better for you. So this is something that is discussed in a lot of neuroplasticity videos and those ones. You always hear people saying your brain can't just let go of that thing. You'll actually have to replace it with another good habit that can actually take its place and is as accessible as that bad habit. And so a bad habit is like a very bad tenant. It will only move out if something else is moving in. So when you engage in bad habits, your body actually gets used to them because these bad habits and these addictions are then a part of your routine as a person. And so you start needing these things, and that's why people tend to get addicted and used to the habits that they do on a daily basis. So if you want to let go of a certain bad habit or a addiction, you need to change your routine. You can't just take out one part of your routine and then expect it to change. So if you're used to waking up in the morning, then doing your bed, brushing your teeth and whatnot, if you want to change the order of these things, you need to actively work on replacing each action with another in order to, remind your mind that you are building a new routine. And so if you're looking to get rid of a certain bad habit, it works in the same way as this routine replacing, where you'll have to find a good habit, something that is healthy for you, that will be easy to do as the bad habit was easy to do, and will help you replace that bad habit. So for instance, if you're someone who is getting rid of an addiction to smoking, smoking is very easy to do. You can take a break while you're at work, take a break while you're at school, easily open a cigarette and just start smoking it. You will have to find a good habit that can actually be as accessible and as easy for you to do as the smoking. So you can't replace smoking with the gym because when you're at work, you can't just randomly go out for 5 minutes to the gym. It's going to be quite irritating and bad to keep up. You would rather start doing something like, I don't know what's that instrument called, the one that you blow. I forgot what that thing is called, but a little instrument that you can play for 5 minutes every time you walk out, or like a certain amount of water that you'll drink during that 5 minutes where you would usually smoke, or if you would go and do 5 jumping jacks, something that is easy, like how the bad habit was easy. So that you can actually force yourself to get into it in the times that you would get into that bad habit, because we are replacing a bad part of a routine. So when you choose to evict and to remove bad habits and addictions from your life, there is a void that is left in your house, the house of your mind. And so this void that is left needs to be filled immediately and effectively. So you have to be really quick about how you fill it, because your mind is now malleable and open to a new habit since it now has that space available. And so that space will be filled. If you take long to fill that space, it can be filled by something else that you were doing or taking part in, or you can actively try to fill it with something that you would like to do. And so the Bible verse, Matthew 12, verse 43 to 45, so they are describing to us what will happen if you leave that space or that time that you had for a bad habit. If you leave that thing open, what will actually happen in the future? So it says, when an impure spirit comes out of a person, it goes through arid places seeking rest and does not find it. Then it says, I will return to the house I left. When it arrives, it finds the house unoccupied, swept clean, and put in order. So the bad habit has left, and you have cleaned up that space. You have decided that I am going to focus good habits into my life, and I will no longer be partaking into bad habits. So it is swept clean, and everything is put in order. It's even more attractive now to this evil and impure spirit. And so it goes and takes with it seven other spirits more wicked than itself, and they go in and live there. So, because this impure spirit realizes that you have overcome it, you have skipped that step, now you have overcome that bad thing, it needs to level up in order to get you hooked back into that thing again. So just how they say drugs are a gateway, like for example, you can easily start with something that is easier for you, but then when your body gets used to that thing, even with medications, when your body gets used to a certain painkiller, you will need something stronger. This is how the impure spirit works. It will need something stronger to get you hooked again, or to get you beaten up over a certain thing again. And so they go and live in there, and the final condition of that person is worse than the first. That is how it will be with this wicked generation. And so that's Matthew 12 43 to 45. And so that is why it is so important that we actively try to fill these voids, so that we do not leave space and time for you to have an idle mind where that impure thing can come back, and can come back even stronger than it was before. So the only thing that can fill this void and be stronger than that impure spirit is Christ. Because Christ is strong enough to overcome such things. So we know as humans, we are weak. You can easily be weak to something that did have you in a weak spot before, if you were addicted or constantly partaking a bad habit that you did not want to be in. You can obviously fall victim to that thing again. But Christ is stronger and will help you overcome that Goliath. And so you need to fill Christ. You need to fill your life with Christ, so that you can fill this void in a way that will make you stronger and more equipped to not be taken down by the same bad things again. So this is why you have to come to accept your weaknesses. If you know the areas in life where you are weak, you will be able to give those things fully to God, so that He can take full control over all the parts of your life, not just the strong parts or the parts where you are successful. You can't, stay in a place where you're constantly feeling shameful about something. You have to give all that stuff up. And when Christ has full control over your life, then He will be able to help you battle off these things that you actually find to be weaknesses in your life. So once you have filled this void with Christ, you will then have a testimony that you can share with others, to help other people who have dealt with the same things, who are in the same space or in the same issue. And when you have this testimony, it's not for you to hide or to be shameful about something that happened in your past. It's not for you to constantly shame yourself for having had that bad habit 2, 3, 5 years ago, or having had that addiction 2, 3, 5 years ago. You cannot turn back time. You can't go back and change what you did. Time traveling is not a thing that's happening right now for everyone. I don't know if it's real, but it's not happening for everyone. So you can't necessarily go back in the past and change all those things. You can only change who you are now, and your character now, and how you will act in the future. So you cannot let the shame hide that wonderful testimony you have now, because at the end of the day, people won't hear your testimony and think, oh, she is kind of weak. How did she fall into addiction with a cigarette? You know what I'm saying? People will look at your life and say, God can actually work in all areas, and they will see the power of God that has worked through your life, especially when they know the things you have been through. And so when you feel that thing to share your testimony with someone, you shouldn't be afraid to, because it's also a bad habit to be held back by shame and guilt, because that is not things of God. So you can't now grab onto that other bad habit of constantly being shameful, constantly looking to have changed the past. You can't do that. You have to step into a full confidence where you are not confident in yourself, but where you are confident in the power of God and what He has done in your life. And being able to share that with other people is a way of expressing that gratitude as well. So I really went with this topic. I thought about it for a long time, and I thought, how do you actually fill this void with Christ? And so I'm going to be giving you 3 tips. So number one tip is to start and end your day with God. So this is a bit of a tricky one, because some of us have Bible apps on the phone, and I am one of those. And then I find that in the morning when I'm going to go read my Bible, I'm going towards Instagram. When I tap Instagram, I'm 15 minutes in and I'm like, how did I get here? So it's better to have a physical Bible. If you can do that right now, you should look into buying a physical Bible and having something that you can pick up and read in the morning. But what I mean by start and end your day is in the morning and in the night, you should be praying and at least reading some chapters of your Bible, getting some word in, talking with God about what you have learned in the word, other things that are happening in your life. And so that is a really important tip, because that is a good way to ground yourself, to think about your goals for the day, and also in the night just to close off everything with God. And then tip number 2 is what we were talking about earlier: accept where you came from, accept the things that you might have done that weren't so, perfect or pretty, and celebrate where you are now. So a lot of the time people will say you have to remember where you come from in order to, appreciate where you are now. If you do not remember that, oh, I used to struggle with that thing, then when something new comes up, you will forget how God blessed you and helped you with that bad habit long time ago. And you will, try and use your own strength to fix the issues you have now, forgetting that back then, you were still in your weakness and Christ came and showed His power in your life. And so, in order for you to actually celebrate your achievements and what God has done in your life, you need to be able to remember what has happened in your past and where you have actually come from, without being shameful or feeling guilty, and just remembering that's where I've come from. Look where I am now. This is really great. The things that have been built in my life are looking really good. And you have to be able to recognize those achievements and to actually respect them. And that is what will help you maintain those things for the future. And then the third tip is to let God in all things. So don't only let God in a situation at the end where you figured everything out and you're like, okay, it's worked out and I'm going to tell God about it. Tell Him right in the beginning when you see how things are going, whether they're going good or bad. You should let God in all these things, because at the end of the day, we can only see what is happening with our naked eye, and we can't see that far into the future. But God knows the full plan for your life, and He has made plans that are going to prosper you and not to harm you. So if you ask Him, should I be doing this? Should I take part in this? Should I get into this thing? He will tell you what to do, and He will direct your steps so that you do not fall into bad things. And make sure to, conversate with God constantly so that you get used to always hearing His voice and allowing Him to direct your steps in all situations, good or bad. So I hope you got a good word from here, and please do leave a thumbs up and subscribe. Thank you very much for supporting my channel. Thank you very much for listening to this message that I had, and I hope that this download has touched your life and that it is going to change something in your life. It is a very difficult thing to let go of certain addictions and bad habits, but you need to center your life around love and not necessarily just around discipline. Not everything is, logical and just step one, step two, step three. But when you center your life around love, you're centering your life around Christ, because Christ is love. And so don't take so much time to look at yourself and say, oh, this is what's wrong with me, that's what's wrong with me. You have to look at how Jesus is and look at God's perfect character in order to make sure that your eyes are set on where you want to go, because that is the mission. At the end of the day, we are trying to be like Christ. And so when you look at Christ, you will go that way. It's same like when with your driving. I know I'm a new driver, so when I drive, if I look to the right, I am going right. If I look straight, I'm going straight. And that is how it is with life. If you constantly look and point at yourself and say, oh no, Kati, I need to change this, I need to change that, I want to take out this part of my personality, then you'll end up going towards those bad habits and constantly feeling shameful and guilty and sad about yourself. But if you look at Jesus and you look at how perfect Christ is, then you will end up going in that direction. And that is what you need to center your life around. So I hope you got a good message here. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for supporting my channel. And please do check out more videos. Bye.